People will say that the following clip is nothing but propaganda, but you be the judge of it and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm gonna pause the video right there. What city do you think that is? Now, from the title or the thumbnail, there's only two guesses that you can do. Which city do you think that was? Leave it in the comments below. Let's continue with the rest of the video. All right, guys. Yes, that was Moscow. Now, I think the architecture gave it away, perhaps how the people looked. This video is going to be a comparison of the two cities. I'm going to be showing you clips of New York right now. Now, I did select this certain clip because it's not hard to find these type of clips coming from New York. Again, people are going to think that this is propaganda, but the people who are recording these videos have nothing to do with Russia. These are American citizens showing their city as it is. And there you have it. That was New York. Now, New York and Moscow have so many things in common. New York is a massive city in the American continents. And I think it's the biggest city in the United States, in North America for sure. And Moscow is the largest city in Europe. These are mega cities that attract people from all over the world. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is that people think that if we make videos from Russia as Americans, that we're on Putin's payroll. But the reality is that the people who do the opposite, making videos from New York, like the video you saw, those people are from the United States. They live in the United States and they record things that they see. I have to say that it is not only the streets that people document. There's many videos all around YouTube where people compare different things. One of the most important things that they compare is the metro system. There's this video that says why Moscow is insanely well designed. Well, it goes into the street layouts, it goes into the way the city was built, the metro, the sidewalks. These two cities get compared so much, New York and Moscow. And I wanted to do my video comparison, but also talk about these things that people say it's propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. It's not propaganda, okay? It's people from Russia recording their city. It's people from the United States recording their city. And because airplanes exist, people like me, well, I can visit Moscow if I want, and I visited New York. In fact, in case you didn't know, I made a very successful video on the Moscow Metro, comparing it to the New York Metro. And it is probably one of the most viewed videos on YouTube for the metro in Moscow. Here you can see that when Tucker Carlson came to Russia, he did a video on the Russian metro and he has 1.9 million views, and our video has over 2 million views. And this is a really special thing for me because I did that video in awe, showing what I thought was amazing. I had never seen a metro system. I'm from Los Angeles. Our subway system is nowhere near the same level as the Moscow one, and I only went to see it after I had already seen the Moscow one. So in this video I want to talk about these things. Tucker Carlson didn't go to Russia to make a comparison for propaganda. No, he went to Moscow to talk to the Russians, and he fell in love with what he saw. He was in awe. Listen, comment down below if you were given the opportunity to travel to any one of these two cities. If you were given a free vacation package, which one would you choose? Don't take the videos that I showed into account. Which has been your dream destination or a place of interest for you? In recent history, it feels like more and more people are wanting to visit Moscow. New York has lost its shine. It's been maybe 5 years where New York has just been on the news for being dirty, being dangerous, just out of order. And there's been a lot of people making videos from Moscow. If you're enjoying these type of videos, please do subscribe, maybe hit like if you are liking it, and put the notifications on because it lets YouTube know that you want to see these videos. I do have plot in Russia and I am building a house, but the ground is still frozen solid and I cannot yet start beginning to work on that. So to suffice, we are making these types of videos, okay? Thank you so much, and let's continue. Hopefully YouTube showed you this thumbnail that you're seeing on the screen here, because it kind of reflects why I'm making this video. You can see that one of the cities has more stars than the other, and I said New York lost its shine. And I think that Tucker Carlson describes it best in his video when he came to see Moscow. Let's see what he had to say.
One of the ways you understand a society is through its infrastructure, the places where people gather, the places where they go to travel. If you've got a lot of people in one place, it tells you a lot about the people. So with that in mind, we're standing in front of the Kievskaya metro station and there's a train station next to it. Now, the metro station was built by Joseph Stalin 70 years ago. And the question is, how's it doing now, after 70 years? So we went into it to take a look, and what we found shocked us. Now, that's not an endorsement of Stalin, who was bad, obviously, nor is it an endorsement of the current president, Vladimir Putin. You may not like him either. But it doesn't change the reality of what we saw, or more precisely, didn't see. There's no graffiti, there's no filth, there are no foul smells. There are no bums or drug addicts or rapists or people waiting to push you onto the train tracks and kill you. No, it's perfectly clean and orderly. And how do you explain that? We're not even going to guess. That's not our job. We're only going to ask the question. And if your response is to shout at us slogans dumber than the slogans we used to call Soviet and mock, that's not really an answer. How does Russia, a country we're told is a gas station with nuclear weapons, have a subway station that normal people use to get to work and home every single day that's nicer than anything in our country?
Some of the things that I find interesting is that he cannot fathom. He asks, how is it possible that the Russians have this and it's much better than anything that we have in America? Well, the Russians invest and maintain in their projects, especially in Moscow. We know the rest of Russia is not the same as Moscow, but we're talking right now Moscow, New York. But he also does the direct comparison between New York and Moscow. And these two cities, I'm telling you, they are perfect, comparable with each other. They are giants amongst other cities in their continents. You know, it makes me curious. Anybody watching, have you guys been to both cities? I've been to both cities and I've seen what both cities have to offer. And it's not my biased opinion. Moscow is really in a league of its own. I'm not saying that New York is bad. And to prove it, I'm going to show you another video of people walking in New York, and it looks absolutely normal. As you can see, there are nice places in New York and there has to be dirty places in Moscow. But another thing that I noticed, having been in both, is how safe I felt when I walked the streets in Moscow. And I'll tell you what, it was mind-blowing to see little kids coming out of band practice or learning how to play an instrument or ballet practice, and they were walking alone. From 10 or 9 o'clock at night, they're just walking alone down the streets. They were so independent. I had never seen that and would never expect to see that in New York. It just seems like the gaps are so big between these two cities. We know that Moscow can be dirty. We know that New York can be clean. but Moscow is much more cleaner than New York is cleaner. And New York is a lot more unsafe than Moscow is unsafe. And that's why I believe that really Moscow is almost a perfect 5-star city. It really is. And it makes me wonder, is this going to be a magnet of the future? Just a lot of digital nomads are going to be going to Moscow instead of New York? Now, I would be lying and neglecting one very important fact. Moscow, the capital of Russia, just happens to have beautiful women. And it seems like the rest of the world is catching on. And honestly, I don't participate in the nightlife here in Irkutsk, but here are some clips of the nightlife in Moscow to give you an idea of what really makes the world go around, which is women for a lot of men out there. And Moscow is a beautiful place for beautiful women.
Такая красивая.
And honestly, that ties in with a safe city. When women can walk around confident, dressed beautifully like they were dressed, a little bit exposed, some of them, a little bit of trashy clothes, but that makes it seem like it's a safe place. And this is all over Moscow. There's many places, not just the centers. There's different centers of Moscow. The old center, the new center, this town, this part of Moscow, that part of Moscow. I've been to so many places and it's absolutely safe. Where in New York, you hear about like Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, some places where you can't even visit because it's just the hood. And I'm sure there's a hood in Moscow, but I've seen videos of it, people going to the hood in Moscow, and it's like Disneyland for me. Because I come from the belly of the beast. I come from Los Angeles. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're planning to visit a city and you have a vacation, you should probably visit Moscow. If you made it this far into the video, I challenge you, whoever's watching still, to go look for a video online of Moscow looking as bad as the video where I showed you in the beginning of New York. No, I really challenge you. Try to find a video where it looks as destroyed or out of control as the first video I showed you of New York. This is for everybody who's watching still up to this point, because I truly believe that there is no video of something looking like that in Moscow. What I find really, really funny is that Eli from Russia, I believe, her channel is really famous YouTuber. She made videos from a walk in the worst neighborhood of Moscow, and what I think is hilarious is that she had to go to an abandoned building to actually see something bad. And I found another channel too that the worst thing you can see is basically graffiti in old buildings or abandoned buildings. For the Russian mentality, for Russians, what they think is bad is something that's falling apart. And I'm going to show you the clips. Look, it makes no sense to me why for them they call this the worst. Because, well, I mean, I guess if that's the worst that they have, they're actually really good. Graffiti and an old factory that's broken down, if that's the worst your country has, you are doing fantastic. But it's still going on, guys. The challenge is still on. If you guys can find something worse than these clips, you guys win.
Zone. This is a former warehouse, but now some foul language on the walls, as anywhere in these places like that of Russia. Lots of trash. Oh, look what a nice graffiti they have. Such a positive image in this place. More of foul language.
Again, that was Eli from Russia showing us the worst part of Moscow. And to be honest, it's hilarious to me as an American who comes from the real ghettos. That I'm really happy that the worst that she found is just a broken warehouse where people do graffiti inside something that's already destroyed. Now I'm going to show you another clip of another YouTuber who also didn't feel safe because he found graffiti in Moscow. And this is the worst hood in Moscow. This is another YouTuber. Check it out. By the way, guys, this is going to be a video called Solo in Moscow's Most Dangerous Hood. Don't feel safe. This is Dave the Inspiration. Let's see what he has to say about the most dangerous hood in Moscow.
I don't know if you guys can read this in a Russian accent in the same way that I do. Go to home, baby. And now you can see the signs, graffiti signs, that probably belong to some local gang here in Birulyova. Who knows? Maybe I'm in danger just standing right here in front of these signs. This may be the reason why you can read this. Go to home, baby. You're a tourist. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. Just go home for your own safety.
I can't even take that video serious, man. You know, I noticed that in both videos from Eli from Russia and this guy, there was a pee-pee on the wall. And go to home, baby. I don't know. Why would they write it in Latin? It's just very, very strange. The guy is obviously from probably Camp Cupcake somewhere in his safe space in his country. But the point I was trying to make is all the influencers try really hard to find the worst place in Moscow, and all they find is graffiti and abandoned buildings. And I am really happy that that's all they find. But at the end of the day, this video was made so that you can give your opinion. Leave all your comments down below. Thank you for supporting this channel, and I'll see you on the next one.